So in my opinion, breaking down your video scripts is essential if you want to make videos without losing your mind. But when it comes to YouTube, I've found that everyone kind of has their own way of doing things, and some people just don't do it at all. So in this video, I'm going to quickly share my thoughts on how to break down a YouTube script, and then I'm going to show you how I use Notion to do it really quickly. By the way, the reason I'm sitting on the floor is because my office is really messy and I can't get any serious work done without a mouse. So for film and television for the past 100 years, if you were to break down a script, you would get a printout in the standard format where one page is 1 minute, and you would take some highlighters and you would just go to town, marking down every actor, every prop, every location, where VFX needs to be involved, where SFX needs to be involved, makeup or any costumes. And by the end of it, you basically have an audit of everything you need to make your production happen, to get what's in your head onto the screen. Because sometimes what happens is you make a script and you know what you need in your head, but nobody else does, especially if you're working with large production crews. Now, most YouTube videos are not as complicated as big budget productions. I mostly use an AV script, which is 2 columns, one for audio, one for video, and then I take it from there. So usually I would do this in Word or Google Docs. I would have audio and visual columns, and then I would have a third column with a little tags section. But recently I've been using Notion to do the tags, and what that's allowed me to do is to create worksheets. So often I have a sheet that has all the parts of my script that needs animation, so I can just spend a day focusing just on doing the animations without having to search through the script every time I want to start a new animation. And the most crucial one, which I'm also going to show you, is how to make a location breakdown. I've been making videos with running around the city, shooting different parts of the script at different locations. And when I'm doing that with all my gear in my backpack, I don't really want to be pulling my phone out to look at the script every time. So I like having a printed out sheet with the script broken down into what do I need to say at which location. And that really helps me to just stay focused when I'm on location, get the shot, make sure the composition's right, make sure my delivery is good, and I'm not panning through the script like an idiot. So let's open the laptop, and I'm gonna walk you through how I set this up from start to finish. So I've used ChatGPT to generate a little travel guide script. It's terrible, but if we click in here, you can see this is the actual ChatGPT script. And then what we'd wanna do is kind of start pulling in the script into a script breakdown. So let's create a new page, call it script breakdown. And then we are going to create a table. And then let's open a new tab with the other Notion page. So here's a script on the right, our breakdown on the left. We're going to create a new database. Before we start to pull in our script, let's create all the properties. There's a few things we want to set up. First of all, we want to set up that you can make sub items, because we want to break down our script into scenes and shots. They're not really scenes and shots in the traditional sense of the word, but kind of just grouping different parts of the script together to help us navigate them easier. So you're going to sub items here, turn on sub items. We're going to call the name shot ID because they're not really scenes and shots. Then we are going to create tags. We can keep tags. We want to go and add just a text box, and we call this audio. Another text box, and call it video. Drag my tags over to the right here. And then if you want to break out a little printed page like I like to do with my locations, then you need to create a specific tag column for that group. So let's create a new multi-select and let's call it location. So we also just want to go, there's now the hidden in table. I just like to rename these to be scene and shot. So let's go back into split screen view and start to break this down. First, we're going to create scene 1, and we're going to call it intro. And then this is our gross ChatGPT script, but let's create a new sub item. We call it 1.1, scene 1, shot 1, paste that in there. And I'm just going to fast forward as I do this. Okay, so we've got 3 scenes here. So I start by just filling out the video column. This is actually quite a creative part of the process. You could do this in the scripting phase as well. So we start with, welcome to Cape Town, where every corner holds a story waiting to be discovered. Join us as we explore why this city is the perfect destination for your next holiday. When we talk about every corner, I'm kind of thinking like there's this cool area in Cape Town that's very tight and kind of vibey called Cape Quarter. And I would want to present this on camera with my face. So in the video section, Drian presents to camera while walking down a narrow street in Cape Quarter. Before we dive into the present, let's take a step back and uncover the rich history that shaped this vibrant city. There I would kind of do like quick cuts of B-roll showing all parts of the city. So let's write B-roll of old parts of the city. Then we kind of switch into the part that's probably going to be animated, where we talk about the history of Cape Town. So here we talk about the European ships, and I'm going to say animation map zooming out from town showing Old East India Trading Company routes. So that's an animation. Then we're going to make another animation showing character like Jan van Riebeeck starting a colony, starts his colony in the Cape. Crowd of slaves building a harbor. Then we are going to go another animation, archive images of Dutch and British colonial history. So we've got some shooting, we've got some animation. I forgot to label these scene numbers, so let's just quickly do that. So the first shot where I'm walking through Cape Quarter and presenting, I would tag on camera because I'm going to be presenting on camera. I would also tag it gimbal to remember to take a gimbal because I'm going to be walking and someone's going to be filming me tracking backwards. So let's say gimbal, then I'm going to go over to location and I'm going to say Cape Quarter. So here I wrote B-roll of all parts of the city. So at tags, I'm going to actually write B-roll. So in my location section, I'm going to write which locations I want B-roll from to match the idea of the oldest parts of the city. So maybe I want some B-roll of the castle. Maybe I want some B-roll in Boerkaap. And maybe I want some B-roll in District 6. So actually, I've decided I'm going to make this more interesting. Because we're going to the castle to get B-roll, hypothetically, I'm going to present the history section standing in front of the castle, because why not? The Cape Castle, not the beer. So here we are going to say on camera. We're going to add a tag because there's animation here called animation. And then we're going to add the location castle. I use a special mapping animation software, so I usually do all the maps in one go as well. So I'll add a tag map as well. Shot 2.2 is also an animation. And for this one, I know that I want a photo of Jan van Riebeeck, who was this old Dutch guy who landed in Cape Town. And I want an actual picture of him, so I'm going to type in archive. I'll make a list of all the archive shots I need, and I'll take a set time to just do that, because I find like that helps me work much quicker. Shot 2.3 is also an animation, also with archive. And actually for these shots that only have voiceover, I like to do a safety recording in studio. So I'm going to add here studio. So I'll record it in studio. Add another tag here for studio. And then let's kind of do shot 3.1. I'll delete these two because I'm too lazy to go through them and add a viz section. Didn't write the viz section, but let's say Drian presenting at Robben Island. And let's add on camera, gimbal, add a new location tag, Robben Island. And then let's also add here B-roll of Mandela's jail cell. Let's add a tag called B-roll. And I think that about does it for showing you the rough idea of how I do these breakdowns. Now I'm going to show you how to use these tags to create custom views that'll help you speed up your production. So creating custom views in Notion is super easy. You just go up here, rename this one to breakdown, because this is where we do our main breakdown. Then let's create a new view. It's going to create a new table. And let's call this one First, I'm going to show you just how to do a normal filtered view for if you just want to do your B-roll or your archive or your animations in one place to make a little worksheet. So I'm going to call this one animations filter. Then you're going to say tags, and then it's going to give you an option which tags to use. We just want to see animations. So now all our animations are broken down here. So just so I can see stuff better, I'm going to go to layout. I'm going to say wrap all columns. I'm going to go to sub items, and I'm going to say show as flattened list. So now we don't have to see extra little sub items lists. We just see 2.3, 2.2, 2.1. We know which scene it is. We Gucci. And then I'll just sit down for a set block of time and I'll just work on animations. I'm like hyper focusing in one frame of mind, and I get through my work much quicker. I'm not task switching as much. So the view that I like the most is the group breakdowns. So for me, that's location breakdowns. You could probably also do this with something like units. If you have a much bigger production where you have different crews going out on the same day shooting stuff, then this will help you to break things down per unit, and each unit will see what they need to do each day. Or if you've got like different cameramen shooting different things, going to different locations on the same day, you can use this type of breakdown for that as well. So all I do is I go to create a new view, call it locations, and then we are going to say group by location. Sub item settings and say flattened list. Let's hide everything that doesn't have a location. And there we go. Bob's your uncle. Now we've got a list that we can print. I want to go, oh, I'm in Boerkaap. What do I need to do here? Then I go, oh, I'm getting B-roll to match the part of the audio that talks about stepping back in time. So I want to get B-roll of really old stuff. The same for the on-camera sections. When I'm in Cape Quarter, I can just whip out my piece of paper out of my back pocket and see what line I need to deliver to camera. So my biggest gripe with this setup is that if you export this as a PDF, it doesn't save the groups. You can export PDFs, but it just spits out a list. So if you want to export a PDF and print it and then manually just draw on your little groups, that's one way of doing it. But I just go into Chrome, I say print, because Control P doesn't work inside of Notion, it hijacks it. Everything from the second page on is everything broken down by location. And then I would print this. I'm not going to print this now because I'm not going to shoot. So that's my super quick rundown. I hope it was helpful. I'm not a Notion head, so if you can think of another way of doing this, or even a better way of doing it, not using Notion, maybe you can use Excel. I know there's other apps out there. I basically use this instead of something like Studio Binder, which is much more expensive than Notion, which is free, but is probably more tailor-made for this kind of application. I'm going to leave a link to a Notion template that you can have for free. This is the end of the video.